Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis Media once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw, and this time it is on Midsommar. Now, this movie is about how, Danny and Christian are a young American couple with a relationship on the brink of falling apart, but after a family tragedy keeps them together, a grieving Danny invites herself to join Christian and his friends on a trip to a once-in-a-lifetime midsummer festival in a remote Swedish village. What begins as a carefree summer holiday in a land of eternal sunlight takes a sinister turn when the villagers invite their guests to partake in festivities that render the pastoral paradise increasing unnerving and visual disturbing stuff happening. And this is from Ari Aster, who directed Hereditary, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I was looking forward to this film. Hereditary was one of my favorite movies of last year. It was one of the best horror films I've seen in the entire decade. Although I didn't put that as my number one horror movie of 2018, I did put it really high, and I really thought it deserved it. And that is a movie that I think just gets better each time I watched it. I watched it twice, and I think it was even better the second time because that is a movie that requires multiple viewings for you to understand it, and I like the direction Ari Aster is taking here. Now, when it came to Midsommar, I saw this almost a week ago, and I just needed some time to think about this movie before I actually reviewed it. I was definitely going to review it, but this is one of those movies that totally messes up with your brain. This is probably going to be one of the most divisive films of the year. And honestly, I love movies like this. I loved this movie. I just love the direction that Ari Aster has been taking for the past year or so. But really, when it came to this, I was really skeptical about going in. I had a feeling this was going to be a movie that was going to mess up your brain, and really it is. First off, the scenery looks absolutely gorgeous. From when we go into the Swedish land, everything, there's so much flowers and stuff. Makes it look like it's not going to be a sinister, dark horror film. So yeah, I like how it kind of disguises that it's going to be a nice, charming movie, but no, it's like when you have one of those like fantasies and like cartoons and stuff where you have like a happy little fantasy, but it ends up being all dark and stuff. That's what it kind of reminded me of. But, performance-wise, everybody does a really solid job here. The main lead, the character Danny, played by, what is her name? Florence Pugh. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but she was terrific in this movie. Everybody was giving really solid performances. Now, in terms of, like, the tiny negatives I have, I would say this isn't quite as, as rewatchable as Hereditary was. Not because it's disturbing, but it just didn't have the kind of story that Hereditary had. Like, it is a movie that, I thought was easier to understand, but this has some parts to it that, that could really use, like, a little bit more work. But in terms of what goes on, it is a slow burn, but that didn't really bother me because I wasn't really bored by this movie. I was interested to see what would go on with the story. I mean, nothing really, fully picks up until after an hour in, and scenes do drag on just a little bit, but as soon as that hour passes, all hell breaks loose. Like, everything just starts going really dark and really creepy. And it's going to be one of those movies where you're going to be like, what did I just watch? Like, what is going on here? I have no idea. Because here's the thing. When I got out of the theater, I think I was the only one in my theater that actually enjoyed the movie. Because when people got out, they were all like, what was that? And that was the worst thing I ever saw. That I never want to watch something like that again. I wasted my money on this. Like, that's how I felt, because I heard people in the audiences that were going like, what just happened there? That's why I love movies like this. It's a movie that will have people talking about a lot, and it's gonna have people want to watch a lot. And it's one of those movies where you just you get what I'm trying to say here, because that's really what this movie does. And like I said, it's not as rewatchable as Hereditary. It's not as memorable as Hereditary. It doesn't have like the it didn't really have like the characters. Like, I cared for the characters in Hereditary. I didn't really care for the characters that much. I did care for the couple in the movie, but everybody else, that guy from We're the Millers and Detroit, I didn't really care much about him. But I really like how some of the characters just go away unexpectedly, and when they show back up, yeah, this movie totally messes you up. And you're probably gonna throw up in your mouth a little bit, and you're probably gonna go like, and I'm not gonna lie, I did a few times. And it's one of those movies that is gonna have you talking for a really long time, and that's probably the biggest praise I can say about this. So all in all, Midsommar didn't disappoint me. It's a beautiful looking horror film. It is really dark. It is super messed up. It actually spoke to me throughout most of the film. It has that rewatchability for you to truly understand what just happened. That's something that's one thing I really enjoyed about Mother. Darren Aronofsky's Mother. It's kind of like that, where that is a deeply disturbing movie with something to say, and it's a movie that is so puzzling that you just want to watch it again. Although there was that one scene that happened near the end that is gonna make me. It's probably not gonna make me want to rewatch it again anytime soon. I do have it on Blu-ray, just because I can say that I have the movie, and I liked the movie, but I don't know how long it'll be. Sometimes I feel like I want to watch it again, but besides that, Midsommar is just like one of those movies. And I should probably mention this. There is a moment near like the last 30 minutes that could have easily given this an NC-17 rating. But it's we don't really get those that much anymore, because those will only come out limited. But it doesn't really matter this time, because okay, well, it kind of does, but it's rated R, so it would be this close. But it's really hard for me to spoil anything here, so I might as well just give you my rating before I start spoiling things. I'm gonna give Midsommar a 4.5 out of 5. So it's definitely it's not for everybody. I've said that in a few reviews. Like, there are movies that I see, I'm like, it's not for everybody, but this movie literally is not going to be from everybody. Not everybody's going to love this movie, but I think you should be prepared for that, because when I saw the trailers for this, I was like, not everybody's going to like this movie. I have a feeling it's going to be controversial, divisive, and that's exactly what it is, and I loved it. I almost loved every single second of it, and even though it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long, it felt like it went by pretty fast. That's how interested I was, and all in all, I would say definitely check it out. But once again, you should still check it out. You can just watch it one time if you want. If it's too disturbing for you, then you don't need to rewatch it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it took me a few days to get this video out, but I finally did, and like I said, I really wanted to talk about Midsommar, and I'm glad I finally got to. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.